These movies are all about family, and in the spirit of that, I wanted to show something. So this is my mom and dad. This is my family. This is my dad. This is my mom. This is a portrait of them from like very recently. Just thought I'd show it because family. So yeah, now that that's out of the way, I figured in the spirit of that, I'll give them a quick shout out. So yeah, mom, dad, hi. Without further ado, let's get into this. Fast X, the 11th film in the franchise, is directed by Louis Leterrier and is the end of the road. The beginning of the end of the road. In this one, we get an Infinity War-like setup where everything is coming to a close when it comes to the core family and all of the stuff that they've experienced over the years. It's all coming crashing down, and there's an emergence of a new villain named Dante Reyes, played by Jason Momoa, who's the son of the same Reyes in Fast 5, whose vault that they stole. As you know, his father died in that one, and so now he's out for revenge, but he doesn't want to just kill them, he wants to break them apart. And what you get is a movie that's essentially the fact that Dom might not be able to save his family at all times. This is not a film where I need to give you guys a crash course on what to expect from a Fast and Furious movie. These movies have been going on for 22 years. At this point of time, you know exactly what to expect when you walk into a movie which is about the Fast and Furious franchise. You know exactly what you're going to get. And at this point in time, if you're content with that, there's no other conversation to have. You know how it is. So at this point in time, the question that you do need to ask yourself is, are you still in? Do you still want to see this story continue? Do you still want to see these characters? If the answer is yes, then you're already going to go see Fast X. You bought that ticket for opening night. If you're somebody who is sort of tired of it, I don't know, but hey, good news if you are. This is the beginning of the end. And I have to give credit to the fact that the film actually feels like that. It does feel like a film that's coming to its final closure of sorts, for now at least. It does seem like the film has a structure around the fact that it wants to bring the story to a wrap, and now it's a proposed trilogy instead of a duology. Earlier it was supposed to be a part 2, and then now I guess there's 2 more after this. I don't know what the situation is in terms of what people are going to say about it. I don't know what the reviews are like. Here's all I'll say. If it's anything like this, it's probably going to be fun. I'm not going to say here then say that the film makes absolutely every single lick of sense, because it doesn't. This film is ridiculous and over the top in every single way imaginable. Maybe a little less than F9 because there was space involved in that, and there are no space scenes in this one, so I guess they've controlled it a little bit, but make no mistake, it's over the top still. There are some sequences, particularly a sequence in Rome very early on in the film, that is beyond ridiculous, and there are things that happen that absolutely nobody humanly possible should be able to survive. And there are 2 such sequences like that later on in the film as well, which are just beyond belief when it comes to those things. But again, this is something you've come to expect from the Fast and Furious franchise. Again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is not something you should expect or something you should be disappointed by. By 22 years, I said? 22 years on, you know exactly how these movies work. And everybody is still having a great time with it, particularly Jason Momoa. This is a really great addition to the franchise, and I think as a villain, he's one of the best that the franchise has ever seen. He's having an absolute blast with this film, and he's one of the best parts of the movie, maybe the best part of the movie by far. And it's great that he has a lot of screen time. He's really having just the time of his life over here, and every single time he's on screen, which is a lot, it's very entertaining and very fun, and I could have seen more of this guy, and I'm excited to see more of this guy in the next couple of movies coming up. Everybody else is really, really great in this. Like I said, the film does treat itself with a genuine sense of finality. There's definitely an aspect to it which feels like they're in significant peril this time, because Reyes is ahead of them every step of the way. And it leads to some moments where Dom has to make decisions or lack thereof, because sometimes he's just outnumbered and outgunned. And it's not like before where it's like he can pull some impossible maneuvers, even though there are points of this movie where he does. But I found that aspect to be genuinely interesting, and I am curious to see where that's going to go. There was someone in my audience today who genuinely, during the film, was like, I don't really like the story of this. I'm not really getting it. You don't go into a Fast and Furious movie trying to look for absolutely cinematic, storytelling. You're not going in to look for a Scorsese level, narrative. You're going there because you're going to see cars do some really insane stuff, and that's what you get. Like I said, this film really sets itself up to be like a big finale and that Infinity War sort of way. Like there's an aspect to it which really does feel like it took from that, entire core concept of having a film be in the way where it's seeing the villains rise and the heroes be desperate. And the film definitely has a lot of that. I don't want to go too much into spoilers, but the film does end with a big setup to a part 2. So there's definitely that aspect to it, even though it has a big 2 hour and 21 minute runtime. There's a lot of side plots going on because the entire family is separated, but it leads to some new additions as well, like Brie Larson is in this one, Alan Ritchson is in this one. You get some new additions that way, who are all very interesting. There's a whole subplot with John Cena that's going on that's very cool as well. Really, the film is very entertaining throughout. I can't really say that the film is actually boring, because it constantly keeps you entertained. It gets a little crazy as the film progresses, but then, again, you paid to watch that. But yeah, if I was to really go into, significant issues with this film, yeah, there are lots of issues with this film. There's a lot of points where the film definitely does that retconning thing where you have to look at certain things that happened in previous movies before and be like, okay, well, obviously that wasn't over there, so now that's in there because we gotta do that, and, sure, why not? There's moments like that definitely sprinkled in throughout that you've come to sort of, expect that, especially when you go back and see that there are certain characters that they're bringing back in these subsequent movies, even though you were like, hey, that character died in that movie years ago. It's like, no, that character is back now. So you have stuff like that which is there as well. And there's a few other things that happen which I guess is in the news now. Like there's one cameo in it that made headlines officially. I don't know why that made headlines, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. But yeah, that's there. That happens. This is a fun movie, okay? This is a ridiculously entertaining movie. I liked it more than F9, that's for sure. I think it's definitely an improvement. I would say it's one of the better ones since I would say 7. So I would say that this is definitely a notch above those. It's not my favorite one of the franchise by any means. I think 5 and 6 are still my top tier ones. But I think this is still a solid enough time, and I am excited to see what they'll do with it next. I'm going to give Fast X a 7.5 out of 10. It's a hair above my rating I gave for F9, but it is a fun enough movie. I'll give it that much. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more reviews very soon. I'm back from the hiatus. There's a lot more coming up, so look forward to that. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the movies.